Hi there, this is Tanya coming to you from Rochester, Minnesota, where my family and I run Firefly Berries, which is a fruit farm specializing in strawberries, Concord grapes, and naturally dyed yarn. And this is episode 25 of Berry Fun Adventures. So welcome everyone. It has been a little while since I came to you last, I think about a month. When I came to you last, I was just recovering from COVID and I thought that I was on the upswing, but then ragweed season hit here on the farm and things got a little dicey and a lot of sneezy and a lot of tired, so I was kind of on the mend for most of August and the beginning of September. But I did do a fair bit of knitting that I have to share with you, and so I will catch you up on all the details of life later in the episode, but let's start with some finished projects. So I actually finished a couple. Let's start with the biggest one that I finished in terms of, I think it's been on the needles the longest of the finished objects that I have for you. And size-wise, it's a sweater. So it is the So Basic Sweater by Maxim Sear. I'm going to hold it up, but you won't see my face. So I made this for my husband. Maxim Sear has, it's a pretty, as the title so accurately states, it is a very basic sweater. I am a genius here today. But so it is a raglan top down. There are some short rows in the back. I don't know if you can kind of see that. And then on the sleeve, however, there is this really nice feature of a large rib that goes all the way down the sleeve. So I started this back in February, I think, when we were on vacation. And it wasn't that I didn't like it. I think what I disliked about it most was that I was alternating skeins. So this yarn is Berry Fun Yarns, Berry Tough Sport. The pattern actually calls for fingering weight yarn, but I chose to do sport because I wanted it to go a little faster. In retrospect, I think next time I'm going to just follow the pattern. So as much as I know that I can alter the pattern and do the math as I go, sometimes you just don't want to do that. Sometimes you just don't want to think. You just want to follow the pattern. And I think more often than not, I choose to not follow the pattern, as is the case when I cook, and sometimes that's okay. But sometimes when it's a really big project like this, it brings more stress than it needs to. So I was making, I think that his measurements were an extra large. However, my gauge was so that if I did the math, I really needed to make him the small size. However, he wanted it to be extra loose in the arms. So I had to kind of alter the arms as well, and I think I went up a size. So I cast on more stitches. It seems like it would be easy. However, the brain space it took me. So when you do a raglan, you're increasing at the shoulders here, and he wanted the extra size in the sleeve, not in the chest. So it turned out okay, but I think in the future, you can kind of see here, I stopped increasing here, but then I continued a little bit farther because I thought that he would need a little more depth right here under his armpits. And so it turned out fine. The sleeves also, my modification was that I pretty much knit straight from the top down until about maybe here, like getting close to the edge. And then I did some rapid decreases to get down to the cuff size. It's a 1x1 rib at the end. So he likes it. He tried it on. I'll put a picture of him wearing it here. But yeah, it kind of caused me a little stress between the modifications that I made. And then on the sleeves should go quickly, but I think what irritates me on sleeves is my brain is a little slow today, is the switching or the alternating, that's what I'm looking for, of skeins. So I was doing helical knitting on the sleeves and the body, because even though I actually was the one who dyed this, the skeins vary. You know, when you have a hand-dyed yarn, especially this was a multiple layer skein. So it was dyed first with marigolds and cochineal, and then maybe some logwood was in there, and then I dipped it in indigo. So not only is there variation in the marigold dye, the indigo, the cochineal dye, because for me, for natural dyes, they don't all, I can't do an exact recipe. It doesn't replicate every time. If there's more water in the marigolds, if it's rained, they don't have the exact same color intensity as they would if it was really dry. So that was different. And then when I dipped it in the indigo, if it was the first skein or the seventh skein, it will vary slightly. Or maybe I held it down for 5 seconds instead of 7 seconds. So there's a lot of variation in it. Is that to say, a couple of the skeins were a little more yellow. You can kind of see up here. That is where the marigolds shone through a little bit more. They kind of, marigold dipped in indigo ends up being kind of this like neon yellowy green color, versus some of the other areas where you can see, well, actually it looks pretty decent. But you can see some spots, there's a little bit more blue, and that's just the natural variation of the skein. So anyway, I'm glad that this is done, because 1, he can wear it, and 2, I do not have to fight with alternating the skeins, and I can check it off as being done. So that's a big win. The So Basic Sweater by Maxim Sear. My second finished object, I actually finished before the sweater, but that's okay. I'm going to show it to you this way. This is the Punch Bug colorway in Knit Picks Felici color, Knit Picks Felici base. I believe it's a 75-25 merino nylon blend, but it's a nice yarn. I like it for, here's the second sack, show you, I really did do 2. Ta-da! These are for a gift for someone for Christmas, so I'm glad that they're done. Pretty straightforward. I did do a tiny little accent cuff at the top with an orange. I was thinking that I was going to do a full orange heel, but then when I got to the heel, I just was like, yeah, I don't really care. So I did the stripe on it, and I saved the solid color. But the orange really matched the orange in here, so you can't really tell that it's anything but supposed to be there. So I do a 64 stitch US 0 for kind of a medium size. These are US women's size 9. So I do 64 stitches US 0. I do mine on double points. I'm kind of a tight knitter. And then I did about, I think I did about a 5 or a 6 inch leg. I do a knit 3 purl 1 cuff, and then I do a heel flap and gusset with a rounded toe at the end. So yeah, so these are all done. That's one Christmas gift off of the to-do list, which is fabulous. Let's see here. And then the last thing I finished was actually a tiny little finish that I just made this past weekend. And it is a tiny little baby bankhead hat. Isn't that cute? So this I actually made out of my BFL Aran weight. Very fun yarns, Aran weight, in the Women Belong Everywhere colorway, which I love. Here's the rest of my skein. I don't know if you can see it very well. My lighting today is kind of not so great. But it is a beautiful pinks and oranges. It's blowing out on here. I'll try and put a picture in so that you can see an accurate color representation. But this is 100% superwash BFL, Blueface Leicester, and they're 181 yards to 100 grams skein. And the reason I made this is because at the farmer's market, sometimes I make hats just because I want to try out a yarn base, or I just want to see, what it looks like. But then the hat isn't necessarily something that I have someone in mind for as a gift or, whatever. So I will sell it because I have people who ask me for hats and things at our market. And there was a lady, I had a larger size hat, like a child size hat that I had made, and she wanted that one, but she wanted a mini baby hat to go with it to match because the little girl was going to have a baby sister soon. So I knit this, and I did it all kind of. I don't usually like to do that because, in the sense of like taking orders, because it's a time commitment to say, oh yeah, sure, I'll do that. And you never, those of you who've ever tried or wanted to sell your things, you can never get enough money for the time it takes you to make something. But a baby hat, a newborn hat, is a pretty low commitment. It actually only took me about an hour and maybe an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes to make the hat. So that wasn't too bad. So okay, that's a better representation of the color. So that will be all ready for her to take at the market when I go next Saturday. So that is it for my finished objects. I just realized that I never told you what I was wearing today. So I love this shirt. This I got at Target on the clearance. But my sweater is the Like a Cloud sweater by Hoki Locatelli. And it is knit out of berry tough sock with a mohair held double. The actual pattern calls for a lace weight, held with a lace weight. But again, I knit tight and I like to go up. And this one didn't matter so much with the gauge because it was kind of an oversized open cardigan. So you can see it's kind of falls to my waist area, right below my waist, it's super comfy. Oh, I'm sitting on yarn. It's great kind of throw on when the weather is not super cold but not super warm. I even wear it in the summer sometimes, just when it's a little chilly in the evening or if you're in air conditioning. I knit my sleeves. I have really long arms. I think I've mentioned this before on this podcast, but I have long arms, so I overcompensated a little, and I knit my sleeves kind of long. So I do fold them up quite a bit, but it's because it's super wash, and also after I wash it, it kind of shrinks back up again, but as I wear it, it gets long. So, but I love it. It's a fabulous sweater, and I wear it a ton. Okay, so let's move on to works in progress. I actually have about 5 different projects I've been working on. I think. Oh, yep, here's the 5th one. We'll start with this one. My little notes there. So last time I came to you, I think I finished a pair of shorty socks out of a sock blank. And I did cast on a second pair. So this is gotta make sure I don't lose all my needles. So I am doing 2 pairs concurrently, so on different needles. This is a sock blank. This is what's left of it. And it is a double-stranded, I was going to say double knit, that wasn't right, double-stranded sock blank. And it is from Essence of Autumn. I haven't been here yet. Yes, Essence of Autumn. And it is on the Prairie Sock base, 80 superwash merino, 20% nylon, 420 yards in the Perfect Storm colorway. And this is an old sock blank I've had for years. This is the problem with a double stranded sock blank when you don't knit 2 at a time. So I have, this is sock 2, and then this is the other one. So I've started making them. I did my, this color is really dark, so it's not showing up great. I did my knit 3, purl 1 rib, you can kind of see there. And then I am working on, I think this one I finished. He likes, this is for my son Lincoln, he likes shorty socks that have just like maybe 2 inches from the cuff to where the heel starts. So I'm at the heel on this one, and then this one now I think I got to finish a couple more rounds of the ribbing and then do the stockinette, and then I'll get to catch up. So what I've been doing is I knit for a little while on this one, like maybe an inch or so, and I kind of make a pile of the unraveled second one, and then I'll knit on this one. So it's kind of a, I've got way more needles in here than I need. I'm doing it on double points, you see. I love the bamboo double points. That is my preferred method. My son has pretty big feet. He's only 10, almost 11, but he wears a size 8 in the men's shoes. So he's got big feet. So I do a 64 stitch for him, size US 0. And that seems to be about right. His length is just a little bit different, but I don't know about any of you who knit socks, but for me, I find that, you know, you get to a certain point, a certain age for the people who you're making socks for, and pretty much everybody is the same, like 60 or 64 stitches circumference around their foot. I have a little bit more narrow feet, so I do like to do the 60 stitches around. I find that it just kind of hugs my foot a little bit better, it stays on nicer. But I should show you my bag. This is a zombie knit apocalypse bag. See, it says ZK 2021. So sign-ups just happened for ZK yesterday, I think. So if you haven't signed up yet, you might want to go check that out and see if they still have spots available. Zombie Knit Apocalypse is an excellent retreat that happens here in Rochester at the end of June every year. And it's put on by Amy and Megan at the Stockinette Zombies. The spots, I think there's like 220 spots or something. And they usually fill up pretty fast. I'm not sure if they're full already, but they do always have a wait list. And often people, you know, can't go at the last minute. And if you can be flexible, then you often can get bumped into a spot that way. So, and if you're in the local Minnesota kind of area, you can certainly drive up and just come to the market on Saturday. And 2023, I will be at the market as well. I've already been accepted as a vendor, so there's lots of fun things coming there. So that bag was the goodie bag. One was in the goodie bag one year. It's like a canvas orange, and it's by Silver Shed USA. Not sure if she's still making bags or not. If she is, I will link her below because she makes great bags. Okay, the second project I want to show you, I think I cast this on, I think most of these projects I cast on since I came to you last. So I was thinking about this one and I had the yarn pulled, but I hadn't cast it on. This is, I'm calling it Ian's Vibrant Cowl. My son Ian is going to be 18 in November, and he has a very bright neon hat that I knit him. Maybe I can find a picture and put it in there to show you. And so he wanted a wraparound cowl. So I don't have it up here, but you know where you have it. I'm knitting it in the round, but it's just a tube. I did a provisional cast on. You can kind of see my scrap yarn there. I just did a crochet provisional cast on, and so I'm going to just knit in the round, and then when it gets long enough, then I will graft the ends together, and I want it to be long enough so he can do a double wrap cowl. And he picked out, I didn't quite have enough of any one color, and I didn't really want to buy more yarn because it seems really silly. So we went through my stash, and he picked out 3 colors that he liked. 2 that he liked more than others. I'm in the sock blank place lately. I'm using all my sock blanks. So this is a Sheepy sock blank by, I believe it's Gail's Art. that we got at the Wisconsin Sheep and Wool Festival a couple years ago. That is this brighter color here that's coming out. And then I have another sock blank. This one's a darker one. I don't know if I have the tag for this one in here. Let me see. Nope, it does not look like I do. I don't remember who this is by. I will put it below or on the screen if I can find who this is by. This was in one of those sock yarn crush boxes that I got a long time ago. So that's that one. And then the third one. So what I'm doing is I started out with this one. And I did 5 rows of it. This is sort of the in-between the neon colors. And, sorry about that. There was a big loud noise. And so it is a sidetrack here, tangent. We are in Concord grape season at the farm, but we are not open every day. We are open 4 days a week, Tuesday during the week, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Today is Monday, and people often think that we're open, even though it says everywhere on our website that we're not open, and they randomly come and they ring our doorbell, even though the sign outside says closed, and they're like, oh, can we please have some grapes, even if you're not open? And it gets kind of tiring sometimes, but I think my husband heard that my husband's working from home, which is why I'm not in my office at the moment, and he must have heard the doorbell, and he went to go talk to them. So sorry about that bang, if you heard a bang. But back to the cowl. So I cast on with this one. I did 5 rows of this, and then I'm doing 5 rows of this in between each of the more vibrant colors. So we have this one that I showed you, the Gale's Art one, and then the other vibrant one is kind of hard to see, but this is from Black Cat Fibers. Let me find the tag. Oh, here's the tag. Black Cat Fibers. This was also in my yarn box, and it is on their luxury sock, 70% superwash merino, 20% cashmere, and 10% nylon. I don't know how they do it, but my kids, particularly my 2 oldest, they always pick out the cashmere yarn, and that's totally fine. I don't have any plan for it, but I don't know how they do it. They obviously have good taste in yarn, because I don't know if it's the color or how it feels or a combination of both, but seriously, they always seem to find my nicest yarn. So we've got the 5 rounds of the neutral, 5 rounds of, this is the Black Cat Fibers, how it's coming out here. 5 rounds of the more neutral, and then this one is the Gale's Art sock blank. So if you notice when you're looking at this looks like my stitches are pretty smooth, and then this looks really kind of crunkled. That's because it's a sock blank. So it was kind of annoying me at first, but I was like, that's just the way it is. It will all even out eventually, but I think it's turning out really cute. And I think he'll like it a lot. It'll be very cozy. So I have to get to that because it is September 26th today, and we have a frost forecast for Wednesday morning. And I know I'm not going to finish it by Wednesday morning, but it's going to get cold soon, and he's going to want it. So, yeah, so that is the cowl that I'm working on. I don't think that I'm going to use all of these, but I wanted to have my options, and then whatever's left, maybe I'll make a pair of like Franken socks, kind of, or scrappy socks. Okay, and that I'm keeping in just a bag that I made for myself quite a long time ago. Okay, I'm back. I had to step away for a second. The noise was actually our beekeeper dropping off something for us. So let's see what I have left. I have 3 projects left. One of them is crochet. So I think I mentioned this before, that I had started a granny stripe blanket in pastel colors. Well, since I came to you last, I went home to visit my parents and help them with my grandmother's house. She passed away in July, so we were sorting through things, and she's the one who taught me to crochet. And so while I was there, I just felt like I took another project along, but we'd sit down and we'd watch movies together at nighttime after we were done working, and I felt like crocheting, and it was so mindless that I just kind of kept going. Oops, now I see I have a dropped. So I'm holding two strands together, two fingering strands together. And so sometimes people dislike, I've heard people say they do not like to hold two strands double when they crochet because sometimes you only pick up one instead of two. And that does happen on occasion to me, but not very often. Not enough that makes it unfun to do. But I'm using a 3.75 millimeter hook, size F. And this is one of those Clover Amour. I really love these crochet hooks. But look at how much I got done. I went to town. Okay, you won't believe it. Look at how big it is. Whoa. And it is, like, I suppose technically, I could put it this way, and it could be like a single person blanket, and I'd be almost done. But I really kind of, this is my problem with blankets. I don't know if any of you do this, but blankets are a long-term commitment. It takes a little while to finish a blanket. So I'll cast on, and I have great plans. I'm going to make this a double person blanket, and it's going to be big. So I cast on this many stitches, or hook on, or whatever you call it in crochet. And then I get to this point, I'm like, oh, I just want the blanket to be done. And then I cast off. And then I get to using it, and I think, oh, I wish I would have just kept going. So I'm going to listen to my future self, and I'm just going to keep going because it will be really nice. I'm probably about, I would say, a third of the way done with how long I want it this way. But isn't it beautiful? I just love it. And so I've done some areas you can see where I was holding undyed white with it. This one you can really tell because it's a darker. And then there are other areas, my paper's making noise here, where I just did solid DK weight. So I either held two strands of fingering or one strand of DK. And it's really working up great to use up my stash of scraps that are kind of pastel-y color. And look at, I hardly have, I think I showed you this last time, but I'm gonna have to go on a hunt. I might have to buy some more yarn. I only have this much left in my little bag here. So, whoop, not very much at all. I would say maybe one skein's worth, if that. Maybe 3/4 of a skein. So I don't have very many pastel minis left. So I'm gonna have to go on a hunt for that. Traditionally, I have knit and made a lot of socks that are a darker color because my family tends to like the darker colors better. And only recently have I begun to really knit more pastel colors because that's what I like. And so I don't have as many of those scraps in my repertoire. So I'll have to go on a little hunt for that. But anyway, I really love this blanket. I have actually not worked on it very much since I came back, partly because I need to find some more yarn to go in it, and partly because I was working on my husband's sweater quite a bit. But I do love it, and I plan to get back to it soon because I really want to enjoy it for the winter. My original thought was that it was going to be kind of like a snuggly blanket. I used to have this, it wasn't really a lap blanket. I'd say it's more of like a baby blanket size that I would sleep with. That sounds kind of ridiculous. I'm a 46-year-old woman sleeping with a blanket. But there's something like, I find I'm a side sleeper. Okay, second tangent of the day. I'm a side sleeper, and when you sleep on your side, I kind of like to have a pillow or something like right next to my chest. Partly because I I don't know, it just feels like it's a little more supportive when you're laying on your side. I don't know. I guess historically, just a little another tangent, I dislocated some ribs in 2016. And so I've continued to have issues kind of with my ribs up here in this area and my right shoulder. My chiropractor says that it's a good thing to sleep with a pillow or a blanket because it kind of supports that area more. Anyway, so I had a blanket that I used, and then my kitten stole the blanket because he really loves to sleep on it. So because it makes him happy and calm and it helps him fall asleep, I gave it up. So this was supposed to be that blanket, but I think it's going to be a little too big. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe find like a super cute baby blanket size pattern that I want to knit or crochet. It could be crochet. If you have any suggestions, put one below. And then maybe I'll make that for me. Maybe I'll pick a totally different color. I don't know. I love thinking about it. But so I think it'll be something different. This one will end up being like a throw blanket, like when I'm watching movies on the TV or, that sort of thing. Or maybe on top of the bed when it's kind of cold in the winter. So that is that. Okay, I'm very chatty with mucho tangents today. I have 2 more projects. The first one is another sweater that I actually had quite a bit done on, and I set it aside to work on my husband's sweater. And then the moment I finished his, I was like, ooh, I gotta finish this one for me because I wanted a new sweater because it's getting colder. I actually think that's a really good idea. If you get tired of knitting sweaters, like in the winter, towards the end of winter, knit the body and start the sleeves of the sweater and then leave it over summer. And then when you get back into feeling like knitting a sweater in the fall, all you have to do is knit the sleeves. And you're like, this is awesome. I have a new sweater. Anyway, this is my love note. And I love it. It's fabulous. So let's see. Here's my love note pattern. Love note is supposed to be, the pattern shows it being a kind of like a 3/4 length, elbow length kind of pattern. It is by Tin Can Knits, and it has this lace design at the neckline. I decided to do, so on here you'll see the lace looks like it's got 4 rows, 4 sections. I decided just to do 1 repeat of the lace. So I just have 2 sections so that. And then I decided to do a full length sleeve because I really like the full length sleeve feeling. I just know that I'll wear it more. This was supposed to be originally, the pattern is cropped, and I did make it shorter than I sometimes do. I have, again, a very long torso, very long arms. I don't know, I'm part gorilla. So I did make it a little bit longer. So I think it hits kind of at my waist. So I don't necessarily need to wear high-waisted skirt or high-waisted jeans or anything like that. I can wear it with my normal jeans and leggings or whatever I'd like to do. So yeah, so when I picked it up, I had the whole body done, and I think I had started this sleeve, but I wasn't too far on it. So I finished my sleeve. It actually went pretty fast. Because of this, it's a pretty loose gauge. I knit it on a 6. I didn't want it quite as loose as the pattern. I think the pattern says 10. I think it's a 7 and a 10. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, 7 and a 10. And I did it on a 6 and a 4 for this. But I was getting pretty close to the same gauge, if I recall, because I am knitting a small. No, I'm knitting an extra small, so I must have been getting maybe slightly bigger in my gauge. Yeah, so I finished this one, and I cast on the next one, and I don't think it'll take me too long. The putziest thing is the alternating skeins, but I was sort of wondering if I really needed to alternate skeins, but you know, better safe than sorry. But I am doing helical knitting on this as well, and I'm using size 6 ChiaoGoo bamboo double points. I really love if the stitch count is small enough, I really prefer double points to the needle, rounded needle, because I greatly dislike having to pull the cord. And maybe, you know, if I had a 9-inch US 6, that would probably work, but even like the 12-inch was a little too big and I was getting irritated, so the double points make it go faster. So after I finish the sleeve, I just have to pick up the provisional stitches for the neckline and do the neck, and then I'm done. So I am looking forward to having that off the needles and on the body. All right, and the very last project that I just cast on this weekend, I was in the mood for some scrappy Frankensocks, pink Frankensocks, in honor of October being Breast Cancer Awareness Month and Halloween. So this is where I'm at. So I did for myself, I do the 60 inches stitches, 60 inches. Can you imagine a sock that is 60 inches? It'd be like for a giant. Whoa! Throwing my socks. I'm a bit of a hot mess today. So this is a knit one through the back loop, purl one, so a twisted rib for about 1.5 inches. And then, and so I just wound up my little tiny balls that I had left. It was like I have a hat out of this color, and then I think the other one, the heel that I picked out is a mini, and then the stripe is a self-striping. I have no idea who it's by. I got it from a friend who had it as leftovers, and she had about, I think there was about 52 grams, and it's this beautiful sparkle. Can you see the sparkle? So pretty. So that's what the striping is the the main body of the foot will be that, because I had about 26 grams for each foot. So I separated them into different, so here's the two for the main. So I'm going to do the cuff and the toe out of this one, and this is Lavender Loon yarn. I think it's called Candy Cane Forest. I can't remember. I'll look it up. Or it is on my project page. And then I'm going to use this one for the main leg and the main foot, and then for the heel I'm going to use this one, which is really pretty. It's kind of like a darker orange and pink and purple, so hopefully it'll go together. I mean, it go together enough. They are scrappy socks. So, and that is a fangirl hand dyed yarn in the Forever Not Yours colorway. Oops, I have that upside. And I think this one I got as a free mini in our ZK bag. So yeah, so I really like these two. These are going to be super fun socks as well. Yeah. So I do still have another, I didn't have any, after I finished the socks that I showed you earlier in the episode, I did not have any other vanilla socks on needles. I just have my Coffee Talk socks, and I really do like having vanilla socks on the needles because they're so portable. And these I have in my beautiful new bag I got from Rick at Whimsy Stitches. Cute little fall patchwork bag. Isn't that sweet? Love that bag. So it was just nice to have another little, because it so easily fits into my purse to take somewhere for appointments or, you know, whatever you need to do. So that is it for my projects. A couple other things I just wanted to share with you before I sign off. In the Dyepots, I have not been doing a ton of dyeing because, like I said, I wasn't feeling great, and I went to visit my family in Wisconsin. But I have gotten back on the Winter Countdown kits wagon. I only have, I want to say I have like 5-ish more colors to dye, 5 or 6 more colors, and then I'll be packaging. All the like goodies have arrived, so if you ordered one of those, thank you very much. I'll be packaging those up, and if I have any extras, they will go in the shop, and I will be sure to post that on my Instagram, which is Berry Fun Moms. So if you don't follow me there, please go find me there. And I'll let you know that I posted it, or if you're on my mailing list, you'll find out that way as well. Then the other thing that I'm really excited about is I am working on, have for sure one already Christmas colorway that I want to share. I'm hoping maybe to do one more. We'll kind of see how our grape season shakes up here and how that goes, and just like how much time I have. But I'm hoping to put out, they should be ready to go in the store by mid-October, I'm thinking. So a couple more weeks, some Christmas colorways on different bases for Berry Fun Yarns. So that'll be kind of fun if you are a celebrator of Christmas. Otherwise, I don't really have any big plans in the Dyepots. Once I get the kits done, I'll probably take a little break, and then you'll probably hear from me again in the late, I guess, early winter, late fall, closer to the holidays. So yeah, so that's that. And then as far as any like catching up life stuff, I kind of told you a little bit about, as I was going through my projects, that I wasn't feeling great and that I went to visit my family. The only other thing I didn't share with you is that I did a big craft room office spare room reorganization over Labor Day, which was a lot of work, but also really fun. I do love to organize things. That is a hidden thing I love to do, or maybe not so hidden if you live in our house. But I will, if I can, I maybe will add a few pictures in the end of what I did. But eventually I hope to take you on a little tour of that room. It is a very high functioning room. It serves, originally it was just our guest room. And then pre-COVID, we got our bathrooms redone in our upstairs level. We live kind of in an older farmhouse, and we got our bathrooms redone. And then while that was going on, we decided that spare room was then going to be turned into my office and craft room area. But then COVID happened, and my husband started working from home, and he still works from home 3 days a week. And so we just never had the space. So I have my office things in there. I keep all of my undyed yarns and my dyed yarns and all of my supplies. I have I'm a scrapbooker, so I have all my scrapbooking in there. I don't have my yarn stash in there, but and we have a bed in there for when guests visit, a trundle bed. So it was packed to the brim of stuff, and yeah, it was not feeling very welcoming. So I did a total reorganization, and now my husband has his own desk and I have my own desk. I have an organized, my scrapbook stuff is organized so that I can actually sit down and work, or I can do office work for my business, labeling, that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm very excited about it. But that was a lot of fun to do. So I think that's it. Yeah, thank you for sticking with me and for watching this video. I'm starting to lose my voice. But thank you for staying. If you are a new viewer, thank you for checking out this channel. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing if you liked the video. Giving it a thumbs up. That lets me know that you are enjoying the content I'm putting out. And as always, would love to hear your comments below. And I guess until next time, have a great time making whatever it is you're making, and we'll talk soon. Take care, everybody.